premium 13-inch laptop. Really, this is the cream of their crop. This is the most luxurious computer they make, and frankly, this might be one of the most luxurious computers you'll find on the market. What you have here is an even skinnier, even lighter version of the computer we had last year. Sony has managed to shave off about half a pound, so that it's now 2.57 pounds. It is the lightest standard voltage 13-inch laptop you're going to find. It's even lighter than the MacBook Air. It is not thinner than the Samsung Series 9 or the MacBook Air. Really, its two chief competitors. It's not thinner than either of them, but that's because it still manages to cram in a lot of ports, which is something we're going to talk about. So I'm going to give you a quick walkthrough of the design here. The notebook is made like last time. It's made of carbon fiber and aluminum, which gives it just a very solid feel. When I grab it with one hand here, there's no flex. It just feels very sturdy in the hand. The one thing you'll notice is that the screen tends to wobble a little bit. So if I tap this here, you can see it shake pretty visibly. And I asked Sony about this, and they said they did that on purpose. They deliberately made the screen flexible. So here we are in the design. I'm going to close the lid briefly. You'll see that you have this very flat finish here. We have it in black, but it's also available in this pretty brilliant blue, which is my personal favorite. So let's take a quick tour of the device. One of the things I like best is that when you open it, the hinge is so sunken that it looks like there is no hinge almost from the side. So you have this nice ergonomic profile, just a little slight wedge here. And as a result of that, Sony has put the power button over here instead of building it into the hinge. That's just a little bit of a twist on the classic Sony design. If I close it, you'll see that on this side, this is where most of the ports are on the laptop itself. So you've got a combined headphone mic port, an Ethernet jack, HDMI out, you've got USB 2.0 and then USB 3.0 and then power jack. Then there's nothing on the back side here. On this side you've got a VGA port and just this big fan here, which gets very hot, by the way, and the fan spins very loudly while the computer is working. And then on the front you've just got a bunch of LED lights, and you've got separate slots for an SD card slot and Sony's own memory stick format. Sony has always sort of separated the two, and I don't really know why. So let's open this up here. You'll see that Sony still uses a lot of physical buttons above the keyboard, but there's fewer than there used to be, and I'll get to that in a minute. But what you do have still is that wireless switch where you turn the Wi-Fi on and off. You've got buttons for VAIO Assist, your favorite web browser, VAIO Care, a bunch of LED lights here. And then you've got the keyboard, which is a lot like other Sony VAIO keyboards in the sense that you've got this chiclet-style layout, and these keys are very well spaced. One thing I noticed is that the keys are so shallow, which means you're going to have to kind of bear down on them a little bit when you're typing. You're going to apply more pressure than you normally would, just because there's less to grab onto. The keys are less cushy than with other keyboards. Even a MacBook Pro, which also has an island keyboard and pretty shallow keys. This time too, Sony has switched to a buttonless trackpad. It used to have buttons here, but instead it's just one giant clickable trackpad. And as you can see, it has sort of this lizard-like pattern, which is very comfortable to run your finger over. It's not much friction. And regular scrolling is fine, but using two fingers to scroll, you'll find that it's an inconsistent experience. It works and works until suddenly it doesn't. And another thing is there's a fingerprint reader buried in there, and it's very easy to accidentally tap it with your finger. So you might want to disable that. But really what makes the VAIO Z special, aside from the fact that it's so thin and so light, is that it's really powerful. But it's powerful in a different way than it used to be. So it always has had solid-state drives, right? And it's always had standard voltage processors as opposed to the watered-down ultra-low voltage processors. But it used to have switchable graphics, so you'd have two graphics cards in one computer. But now what Sony has done is it's taken the discrete graphics card, the more powerful one, and it's put it in this external dock that Sony is calling the Power Media Dock. So what you have is a computer that uses integrated graphics when you unplug it, and then you plug it in to take advantage of the full graphics cards. So you've got an AMD Radeon HD 6650 card in here. So you've got that discrete card, and you've also got an optical drive, which is now missing from the machine. The machine used to have an optical drive built in, but now if you want a DVD player or Blu-ray player or even Blu-ray burner, depending on how much money you want to pay, you have to plug in and then use this. So let's just do a quick walkthrough of this port here. You'll see that it's kind of the shape of an external hard drive, right? And like an external hard drive, it plugs into the wall. And this is really where you're going to get a lot of your additional connectivity. So you've got this slot loading drive, and again, it's which one you have depends on how much money you're willing to pay. Then on the opposite side, you've got USB 2.0, USB 3.0, another Ethernet jack, and you've got 2 more output ports here. And this, of course, is where it connects into the wall. And it comes with this handy stand here. And this actually it's so silly. It's one of my favorite parts of the design just because this feels so premium. It's made of metal, but it has this solid weighty feel to it, like a paperweight. And it has this rubber coating on the bottom, which means it's not going to just slide around on your desk. And so it sits like this. And then when you're ready, you take this plug and you plug it into the power jack here. So you've got this twin cable, you've got one that goes into the power jack and then one that goes into this neighboring USB 3.0 port. And this uses Intel's LightPeak technology. The only thing is Sony implements it in the form of a USB port. So of course when you're not using this USB port for this, you can use it just as a normal USB port that supports 2.0 and 3.0 devices. And that's how it connects. And there's a little button here that I can use to disable it when it's plugged in, and then I can safely remove it. So I just kind of shimmy it out, and that's how that's done. So really you'll need this just for the really just high performance tasks. So it's going to help with gaming, it's going to help with some serious photo and video editing, but because this has a Core i7 processor, 4 gigs of RAM, and a lot of solid state storage, in this case 256 gigabyte drive, I really had no problem doing things like multitasking and just installing and downloading a lot of things at once. So you might well not need this that often. I think it makes sense to leave it docked. But that's been our quick walkthrough of the Sony VAIO Z series. It starts at $2,000. Again, this one goes all the way up to $2,700. So really this is for people who need the latest and greatest.